What happens when a legacy artist turns a viral moment into a full creative reset? Let's talk about it. What's going on, y'all? It's your man Lighthouse, and we're back again with another episode of Everything for Everybody. And today we'll be discussing Juvenile's Boiling Point album. This album has arrived due to social media interactions, believe it or not. What began in April 2023 as a dismissive reply from Juvenile to the prospect of a Tiny Desk concert evolved into a moment of artistic recalibration. A surge of public insistence transformed reluctance into action, culminating in a Washington, D.C. performance along Mannie Fresh, Trombone Shorty, and John Batiste that reasserted Juvenile's command of his own musical language. The reception was immediate and enduring, reframing an artist long associated with a specific era as one still capable of shaping the present. That performance now stands as the generative spark behind Boiling Point, a record that translates renewed visibility into sustained output. There's a certain precision to the timing of this moment for Juvenile, a recognition that sustained motion remains the most reliable conduit for artistic exploration. His continued visibility is not incidental. It is cultivated through deliberate engagement, most recently alongside Mannie Fresh on their podcast, Still 400 Degrees, where conversation becomes an extension of craft. Within that space, Juvenile reveals a measured perspective, engaging fellow figures of consequence with the same clarity that has long defined his music. Boiling Point gathers familiar voices with renewed clarity. BG, newly returned from incarceration, contributes verses marked by composure and perspective, while Birdman situates the project within a geography that has always informed its identity. Together, their presence conveys a continuum rather than a reunion. To me, I think it would be dope if we could get everyone back together. I'm talking big timers, Turk, Lil Wayne, BG, Juvenile. If we could just get them all together, that would be great. But maybe that's asking too much. You know, things are kind of splintered right now with all the guys. You know, well, a few of the guys. You know, Wayne does his own thing. And I think there was a falling out with Turk. But like, I would love to see or hear like a Hot Boys like reunion. That would be dope. But you know, as fans, we always gonna have those instances where we want to hear something that feels nostalgic for us. That would be dope. But anyway, I digress. At its foundation, Boiling Point remains anchored in the architecture of New Orleans bounce. Tracks like BBB reaffirm Juvenile's instinct for cadence and call and response, with Genesis the God and Thee Stallion extending the record's reach through precision and immediacy. Elsewhere, the album moves through its thematic constants, which are desire, exchange, and status, with a fluency earned over decades. The record's most incisive moment, in my opinion, arrives with the record Drop the Location, where Juvenile turns inward, documenting fractures in loyalty with an attention to detail that lends the song its gravity. Production from Swiss Beats and London on the Track expands the album's tonal range, while appearances from D1 and Young Juve reinforce the sense of continuity across generations. You know, Young Juve is Juvenile's son, and he holds it down. It's a great passing of the torch, if you will. Though expansive in length, this album runs about, what did they say on here? This album runs about 51 minutes. Boiling Point reveals its strength in its moments of alignment where voice, production, and perspective converge with intent. Juvenile's delivery retains its defining texture, and his writing continues to reflect a life lived in motion. What began as a viral exchange between Juvenile and fans on Twitter has resolved itself into something more durable, a reaffirmation of presence articulated with conviction. And we can't deny that Juvie is a legend for real. I would say this album is informed by a veteran's insight and ability to pick the right records that fit him in this modern time. You know, we used to have the issue with the elders jumping on songs and stuff, and like it just didn't feel right. But this, I feel like now our older statesmen are starting to actually make the music that actually makes sense. And perhaps it could be because we're not tied down, or they're not tied down by constraints from major labels. It's like, if you have the budget to get the producers to produce for you, then just make it happen. And like, you know, things seem to be a lot better when the artist is in control. And Juvenile is definitely a legend, and I'm sure, you know, we all know that he knows how to pick beats and he picks the right joints. And the way he's flowing on this project is incredible. His bounce on these songs is crazy. So I actually learned about this album from watching the podcast, because he was missing on one of the episodes, and Manny Fresh said that he was promoting the album. So when it came out, I checked it out, listened to it, and this is definitely something that's going to get more rotations, because I just like how he attacks these tracks, you know. So I definitely feel y'all should check it out. But that's my time, y'all. Thank you for watching another episode of Everything for Everybody. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay in the loop. Also, if you're an avid podcast listener, you can listen to the show or watch it on your favorite streaming platform. I use Spotify, and this is how it looks. All episodes are posted there at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time whenever I do post. This is good because you can remain in the platform and go listen to the album that I was talking about directly after listening to the podcast. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself. Peace. And we out.